my name is Kaylee. I'm a third-year medical student currently doing clinicals in the US, and today I'm going to take you with me to see what it's like to be on call as a medical student. So I just got to the hospital. In the morning we do our rounds. And then, so basically on call means that we'll be the team that's like really taking in all the patients. And I believe we can take up to 7 admissions. So whenever they get an admission, they just text us and then we see them. And then, so that's in the emergency department and we go see them. We write a history and presentation and then we just admit them into the hospital. Alrighty, so I wanted to kind of show you what I bring every day with me. That's my little blue clipboard for notes with some information on the outside. And then I also have my fanny pack with water on top. I just hit the camera with it. But the water is, and the fanny pack is something I get made fun of for quite a bit. But I am hydrated and I love that the fanny pack is something that can carry everything that I need without making me feel very heavy, like when you put stuff in your white coat and you feel super heavy. And then this is my stethoscope. It's the Echo stethoscope, so it has a 1-lead EKG, and it also is something that you can record, so I love that. And then I also have my jacket, and my jacket, you know, keeps me warm. It's a jacket, and it has my name on it, so I love that. And then I also am putting on my badge now. You know, it's the one that you can move because I need to constantly scan it. And then I have my lunch for the day. Some leftovers. And then last but not least, my bag. I have everything that I need for studying and I put it in a little cubby that we have there. So that's everything.
Malignant cells usually they are clonally proliferate, so all the daughter cells they look exactly the same. So you can see they look pretty much the same.
Are these the smear ones?
Yes, smudge one. Yeah.
Smudge.
The maturation of your diagram there.
Yeah.
So they started out with the nucleus that's very fine. Mm-hmm. As they mature, that's normal process. They get more condensed. Mm-hmm. And then not only become condensed, the nucleus start to get segment. Mm-hmm. Right, become segmented. So that's why you can see the neutrophil like regular, like normal patients that have sex. Mostly it's segmented. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But when you have inflammation, they tend to get left shifted. They get patients sepsis, they get left shifted. So why it's called left shift? Because when we describe maturation, usually last year go all the way to sex. When we call left shift, that means they shifted back to the left. Indented, called metamyelocyte. Mm-hmm. Okay. Right? Once they start indented, and then when they further indent deeper, almost form a C shape, they call bands. Mm-hmm. Right? And then they further segmented, you become 6. It is.
Is it a basophil?
So
really?
Wow. CML patients, they have
this one?
They typically have basophilia.
Huh.
So one of the features of CML.
Yeah.
Typically in normal, you probably won't find 1 or 2.
It actually looks like a basophil.
Yeah. So.
Would you expect to see like any hour rods in this sample?
Not all have, but if I see one, I can. Not all the AML has rods, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's only the 3
so
and 3.
I'll call it meta. Even their nucleus has indented, but they are not forming a C yet.
Mm.
So
that's a platelet?
That's giant platelet. The patient has dysplastic platelet.
Yeah.
Typical platelet they have you have some granule, but this one it's all like no granule.
39 is your platelets.
Maybe probably higher than see these they won't count as platelet, but too big.
Mm.
They are platelet. Like this they might count as red cell because the impedance analysis. But they might be these are the normal platelet that's left, and that's what they count. Platelet rather than sponge cell, because sponge cells has no content anymore. They just look like just disrupted.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's a good question. Yes.
What is this
the
stain?
iron?
Yeah,
Is this the
sorry.
iron stain?
No, it's just regular ginseng stain.
Oh,
But because I was in the more thicker area, I find because
oh my gosh.
that's the marrow. These are the marrow spicules. Although you don't see a lot of cells inside, you cannot do differential within the spicule. But having the spicule on the slice indicate this is a marrow component. If you don't have spicule, how do you know this is blood or marrow, right?
Yeah. Just a question about these red blood cells. So are these they're not like
Spherocytes?
Yeah.
Like it's like a spherocyte, but usually the spherocytes also like typically they are more intensely hemoglobinized. Like they're supposed to be more red. Like this, yeah.
That could happen because of the autoimmune hemolytic anemia, right?
But this patient's already
IgG.
Yeah, I would probably call this one like they are more intensely brighter than the rest. This could be still a little bluish, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bluish is will be the reticulocyte.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This is so much better than reading about it on a URL question.
Yeah, thank you for doing this for us. This is
You're
cool.
welcome.
Heading home. Walking home now. My dashboard is very chaotic, but I need this and my badge, and this is a disposable stethoscope if I ever forget mine. It's kind of like the just in case. And then I have a bunch of random stuff. Always a good feeling to go home. Nico is freaking out about my food. I picked up a Impossible Whopper on the way home, and I'm gonna start. I'm all nice and comfy, and I'm gonna start doing my research. I have 3 papers I'm doing right now, so even though it was kind of a long day, I'm gonna go ahead and get to it. So the time you get home really depends on like how quickly people need to get admitted, and like we have a cap of 7 patients to be admitted at the nighttime. So we do the rounds in the morning, and I love rounds because you are really seeing the thought process of all the physicians. Like, okay, what are we gonna do about this patient's fever? Why is it happening? Let's try to find the cause. And like you really get to see them like bounce ideas off of each other and see why they're doing something, especially when you're like sitting down and doing it. Sometimes you do walking rounds and sometimes you do sitting. Right now we're doing sitting. And it's been really interesting because for some reason each week, when I'm on medicine, it tends to be that like each week I get a lot of the same things unintentionally. Like the other week I was on medicine, I was on a different team, and it was a lot of like end of life conversations. And then this week it's a lot of cancer and it's a lot of renal issues. So, and that's not intentional and it's very coincidental, but that's been happening so far. And okay, so after rounds are done, then you just kind of bop around, and you, like what I do is I sit in the library and do URL questions like you saw, and just try to be productive in the meantime because you're really just waiting for the people to be admitted. or so technically you're just waiting for people in the ED to be severe enough to be admitted, because sometimes they're just okay enough to be treated in the ED and they're going to be discharged there. So you're just kind of waiting to see who is sick enough to be admitted. And so we have the 7-patient cap, and sometimes that'll take until 8 o'clock, so that's kind of like the time we usually go home. I went home a little bit earlier today because we had 4 students, so it was kind of like, okay, if I got 2, then I would know that I could be done. So that's how it worked today. And then we had overnight admissions, so I picked up 2 of those, so that was interesting. So on-call days can be very hectic, but I feel like as long as you try to make the waiting around time like worth it, I guess, not worth it, but like do things with it, then you're pretty okay, because otherwise you're gonna be like, oh, I have so much to do. So luckily our hospital has a library, and if anything you can bring your stuff to school, and then so when you get home you can kind of just do nothing. I'm not gonna do nothing because I have papers and I have questions I have to answer for UWorld, and I'm trying to do I want to look back at Sketchy. I was surprised by how much I really need Sketchy, because I keep forgetting the drugs and I keep forgetting the little bacteria and whatnot. So I really have to review Sketchy. So right now I'm turning my brain off with The Office. Yes, this is a Christmas tree. I never took it down. But I'm turning my brain off with The Office. I like to turn my brain off for a moment, for one episode of The Office, and then get back to it, just kind of cleanse with dumb stuff and then get back to it. And then I try to go to sleep at 10 or 9, we'll see if that happens tonight, so that I can be productive the next day. But thank you so much for watching today. If you like content like this, that it's informative and fun, please make sure to subscribe. I make new content like this a few times a month, usually on Saturdays. So make sure to like and subscribe and say hi so I can meet you. Thank you.